Hello everyone, and welcome back to my channel, P.E.Eyes Uncovered. My name is Jim Shephard, and I am the author of the P.E.Eyes Ben Vern detective novel series. Now, continuing on with the project we had started a few weeks ago, we're going to do another book hook, and this time we're going to use the sixth novel in my series entitled P.E.Eyes The Brotherhood. Now, unlike the others, I'm going to give you just a little bit of a background here because of the nature of the beginning of this book. Merle Watkins, as you readers will know, is the retired MI5 agent who has come to the aid of Ben and Vern on so many occasions we can't count them. Well, Merle has finally decided to take himself a vacation, and he is an avid CFL football fan. In particular, a Hamilton Tiger Cat fan, as any good person would be. Insert shameless promotion. Okay. So put the glasses on again, as my wife always tells me. Somehow she thinks I look better with the glasses. I'm not going to argue with her. Wouldn't do any good anyway. Okay. Chapter 1. Storm clouds that had threatened earlier to unleash a violent thunder and pyrotechnic display, not to mention an unprecedented downpour, began to dissipate with barely a rumble. Merle loved a good storm and was disappointed when the only clap of thunder he heard reminded him of the flatulent diner he'd encountered at the airport cafeteria the night before. The good news was that he would remain dry throughout the big game. Merle loved football and the experience of sitting among the loyal fans at Tim Hortons Field. Inclement weather at a football game never fazed the hardy Scot. He scoffed at the sissies who lacked the fortitude to sit through a rainfall, choosing instead to cram the concourse like sardines in a sealed can. Tigertown was buzzing with football fever after having amassed a 5-0 record against their divisional opponents. The fans relished the prospect of extending the winning streak by another 2 games in a rare but exciting schedule that had them playing 2 home contests within 6 days before entering their much-needed bye week. Fans began to emerge from the covered concessions area to seek out their seats or take up positions at the South End Stipley Bar, which was billed as the largest outdoor bar in the country. In just over half an hour, the Hamilton Tiger Cats would take to the field in what promised to be another thrashing of the despised Toronto Argonauts. Merle Watkins was in his glory, a die-hard Tiger Cat fan since his first trip to the Hammer back in '67, where his newfound love for the CFL was born. Tim Hortons Field was electric, and the amps were building with each battle cry instigated by Pigskin Pete, leader of the team's heralded Oski Wee Wee chant. Merle armed himself with 3 tall boy cans of Keith's Ale and settled into his seat in section 105, just above the team's entryway onto the field. Life was good, he thought, thanking himself for getting away from all the baggage back in Misty Harbor. The past several weeks had been taxing on the former MI5 agent, who once again had come to the aid of his beloved friends Ben and Vern in what would have certainly been their last case had he not intervened. The truth be known, Merle loved the danger and intrigue that his half-cocked private investigator buddies seemed to find themselves in on a regular basis. It gave him a sense of worth and a reason to keep his own skills sharp and active. Though the seats were much larger than those of the previous venue, Ivor Stadium, Merle still found himself cramped due to his enormous size. For this reason, he had purchased 2 adjoining seats, one on which he stashed his beer and food supply. He leaned back as much as he possibly could and studied the skyline surrounding Hamilton, his second favorite city in his adoptive country of Canada. Merle was surprised that the air, although still caustic to someone who was so used to the deep blue and meticulously clean atmosphere of his Prince Edward Island home, was much improved over his first visit to the city when the horizon had been a thick, soupy gray and brown, due mainly to the steel-producing plants with their numerous smokestacks spewing out lung-clogging, eye-watering emissions around the clock. Several years of dwindling production and lost industry in the once mighty steel town tended to have what most would consider a positive effect on the environment. Merle approved. The big Scot poked the fan who sat directly in front of him. "Hey, buddy, look at that escarpment." His reference to the mountain, as Hamilton residents have come to know, the elevated ridge that separated the south and north ends of the city, came as a surprise to the fellow. "What?" "The escarpment," Merle repeated. "Look at how beautiful it is, all lit up, and yet with the trees and vegetation, it still stands out. You people are lucky, I mean, I love my province and town, but we don't have anything that compares to that." A middle-aged woman sitting next to the fan leaned over his right shoulder and whispered into his ear, "Ignore him, Bruce. He's obviously loaded. Look at the beer cans on the seat next to him." Merle chuckled to himself. Had he overheard anyone back home make such a disparaging comment, the giant among men might well have stuffed old Bruce into the drink holder attached to the seat back. But nothing could ruin this trip for him, not even a Tiger Cat loss, as ridiculous as that sounded to him. "Ladies and gentlemen, please rise for the singing of our national anthem," Merle groaned, but with a full house in compliance, the big guy relented and joined in. He set his one remaining beer can into the holder and stood to attention, removing his cap in the process. With 24,000 raucous fans belting out lyrics to "O Canada," it came as no surprise that Merle failed to detect the ringing cell phone in the front pocket of his tan cargo pants. The crowd wound up with yet another chant led by Pigskin Pete before they sat down in unison. By then, the 3 frantic attempts to reach Merle had ceased. So there you have it, just a little over 4 pages, and the first hook has been set. Tell me what you think of that, and I'll talk to you later. Oh, and don't forget to hit like, okay? Always hit like when you see these things, and it wouldn't hurt to share it. Have a good one. Bye-bye.